Stone and all present here. Myself Jagadish, and I am here to present on the topic eukaryotic gene regulation. And let me move on to the introduction, where the gene expression in eukaryotics is influenced by a wide variety of mechanisms like amplification, rearrangement of genes, etc. And these genes are differentially transcribed, and the RNA transcripts are variably utilized in the eukaryotes. Where, like us multi-gene families, they regulate the amount, the diversity, and the timing of gene expression based on this environmental factors. And just for your imagination, in human beings, each chromosome contains hundreds to thousands of genes, as we all know that, and which carry the instruction for making proteins, enzymes, hormones, etc. And this each of the estimated chromosome might contain around 3 billion base pairs. That may vary actually in an around average, like 20,000 to 25,000 genes are present in humans at minimum level. Based on the DNA instruction book, the statistics was adapted, and Human Genome Project as well. And why it is necessary to study about the gene regulation. Gene regulation is an important part of normal life where the genes are turned on and off in different patterns during development to make a brain cell look like and act different from liver cell or muscle cell. For example, the gene regulation allows cells to react quickly to change or adapt them to their environments. And the gene expression in eukaryotic cell is regulated by repressors as well as enhancers and co-activators or co-repressors. There are two ways of gene expression is regulated. The eukaryotic gene regulation is regulated during the transcription and RNA processing as well, which takes place in the nucleus, and during protein translation that takes place in the cytoplasm. And this is the overview of the regulation of gene expression in eukaryotes. As we all know that the chromosome is made up of DNA, and the DNA, from the DNA we obtain the primary RNA transcript, and that will be processed. That will include like 5' capping, poly A tiling, and splicing, etc. And from that we'll move on to the translation. Translation where the mRNA transcripts moves towards the ribosomes, and from there the post-translational modifications occur, where the protein protein itself forms the structure, or conformational change will occur to the protein, and it will be matured and acted on the inside or outside of the particular cell. And the interesting fact is the largest chromosome, the chromosome number 1, contains around 8,000 genes. The smallest chromosome, the chromosome number 21, contains around only 300 genes. And the structure of DNA molecule, as we all know that it was discovered by Francis Crick and James Watson. And from their discovery, we knew that the 90% of genetic material we share with the mice, and 98% with the chimpanzees, and 50% with the banana. And the nearly every cell in the human body contains a complete copy of the entire human genome. The regulation of gene expression conserves energy and space, a lot of energy and space. It would require a significant amount of energy for an organism to express every gene at all times. So it is much better to keep the housekeeping genes separate, and the environmental factor stimulated genes are separated. So it is more energy efficient to turn on the genes only when they are required, and they are not. Then there are around 1,500 transcription factors are identified in mammals alone. And now let's see how it is regulated in a generalized point of view. Chromatin, as we all know that the chromosome is made up of chromatins. They are classified into two, where they are euchromatin and heterochromatin. That is, euchromatin means they are loosely packed, and heterochromatin is tightly packed with histone molecules, etc. And later on, we'll be talking on the transcription. This includes, like in this PPT, it includes the post-transcriptional modifications for the statistical studies, and where the proofreading activity and capping will occur. And later on that, we'll be talking on the processing and export of the primary and RNA transcript to the cytoplasm. And later on we'll be talking on the mRNA stability, how it is transported towards the ribosome. Then we'll be talking on translation and post-translational modifications. Finally, we'll be ending with the protein processing process. And this is the chromosome structure I was talking on, where the chromatin is a genetic material or a macromolecule comprising of DNA, RNA, proteins, etc., which results in the formation of chromosomes within the nucleus of particular eukaryotic organisms, is termed as chromatin. And this is the particular chromosome, how it was formed by the DNA complex, where the first order of packaging is done by nucleosomes with the combination of histone molecules, and the second order is considered as solenoid fiber, where it will reaches the 300 Armstrong length, and later it forms the scaffold loop, and finally it forms the chromatid. Later onward, it forms the chromosome structure. The entire chromosome structure will be formed. The comparative study proves that comparative study between prokaryotes and eukaryotes proves around 80% of understanding. So we'll be talking on the comparative study, where the prokaryotic gene expression is typically regulated by operons, the correction of controlling sites, and adjacent to polycystic protein coding sequences. And the eukaryotic genes also are regulated in units of protein coding sequences and adjacent controlling sites, but operons are not known to occur in the eukaryotic cells. The eukaryotic gene regulation is more complex because the eukaryotes possess a specialized organ called a nucleus, where the transcription and translation are not coupled in the eukaryotes, and it was coupled in the prokaryotes. And there are two categories of eukaryotic gene regulation exist. One is short term. Those genes are quickly turned on and off in response to the environmental demands of the particular cell. And later on that it was classified into long term, where the genes for development and differentiation, that is nothing but a housekeeping genes, which are automatically turned on when we are at birth. These are the differences in gene regulation. The eukaryotic organisms have more complex regulatory pathways, and where they are prokaryotes, they are simple, but simple regulatory pathways are followed. And the eukaryotic short-term control and long-term control gene expression sequences are present. And in prokaryotes, where the lifespan of prokaryotes are very less, so the long-term sequences are not necessary in this prokaryotes. So the control of gene expression is absent. And the much longer set of regulatory sequences are present in the eukaryotes, whereas in the prokaryotes, single and short regulatory sequences are present all over in the DNA molecule of particular prokaryotic cell. This is the controlling sequences. What are all the regulation sequences or controlling sequences that will hinder or obstruct the particular mRNA transcript to form the protein or gene expression of that particular protein. The enhancers are the main components which hinder the particular protein expression sequence. And proximal elements, there are a number of proximal control elements that will obstruct, or it should be a more complex, like proximal, each and every factor should be in a perfect path, so that so then only it will form that particular protein, or it might end up with the mRNA degradation, and there are that might lead to the cell disruption, etc. That will lead to the apoptosis. And later on, the transcription and RNA processing will occur, where the cap adenylation or splicing process, etc. And this will also obstruct, or this will also this will also stop the particular process of the protein expression reaction. And finally, the mRNA transcript are obtained, and the mRNA transcript should be stabilized in a manner to express to be expressed in a ribosomal content. So it is a major traveling path, where the mRNA will be traveled by the guided mRNA processing. And while talking on to the transcriptional factors, these are the proteins that are involved in the processing of converting or transcribing DNA into RNA. There are transcription factors that bind to the regulatory sequences, such as enhancer sequences, and can either stimulate or repress the transcription factors of the particular gene. And the general transcription factors are involved in the formation of pre-initiation complex with that particular gene that is expressed, that later expressed as a protein. The most common abbreviated transcriptional factors are 2A, transcription factors 2A, and transcription factors 2B, 2D, and 2E, 2F, and 2H. These transcription factors appear only in the upstream as well, upstream only. And there are proteins that bind somewhere to the upstream of the initiation site to stimulate or repress the transcription function. And these are all the transcription factors that might commonly occur in the mammals or in any animals or in eukaryotes. Here, the null factor, that is nothing but a housekeeping gene factor. They are the one who controls that generalized not giving the regulation command to the particular gene. And the transcriptional control of gene regulation is controlled by promoters as well, where they occur only in the upstream of the particular transcription site. Some determine where transcription begins or not. And they'll be also determined whether the particular gene should be expressed or not as well. And it will be located between like 25 to 35 base pairs upstream towards the transcription starting site. The example is like Tata and Cryptobox, whereas the others determine, other sequences determine if the transcription begins or to be ended at that particular moment. And the promoters are activated by specialized transcriptional factors that we've seen in the previous slide, where the transcriptional factors proteins, they are nothing but proteins, as we all know that. And there are one or more promoters with each specific transcriptional factor proteins that might occur for any given gene. And while talking on to the enhancers, they occur only in the upstream or downstream as well, and they are often present between the transcription site towards the upstream as well as downstream. And these regulatory proteins bind specific enhancer sequences, and the binding is determined by the DNA sequence as well. And this will also sometimes stop or initiate or express that particular gene in an expression of that particular protein, where the loops might form in DNA to bound to the transcription factors and make contact with the upstream enhancer elements. The interaction of regulatory proteins determine if the transcription is activated or repressed or suppressed. That might lead to the positive regulation or sometimes to the negative regulation. And this enhancer driven gene regulation factor, there's nothing but a protein which will directly form the loop to attach to the RNA polymerase 2, that is nothing but a core promoter sequence that will automatically bind to the RNA polymerase 2 protein or the enzyme that will decide whether the particular gene should be expressed or suppressed. And more about promoters and enhancers. Some these regulatory proteins that nothing but promoters or enhancers, they are common in majority of the eukaryotic cells, and others are specific to their species level, where each promoter and enhancer possesses a specific set of proteins. They are also known as co-activators, as I told you in the beginning of this presentation, that determines the expression of that particular gene. And the rate of expression is controlled by interaction between positive or negative regulatory proteins that will interact with the promoters or enhancers. Like combinatorial expression might happen, where the enhancers and promoters bind many of the same regulatory proteins, implying lots of interaction with the fine course of levels of control to initiate the particular pre-initiation complex, where the later onwards it will be expressed as a protein. Now let's take an eukaryote and see how the gene regulation happens. For example, we'll take in galactose as a carbon source for the yeast cells, where the GAL-ATP protein, that is nothing but galactose ATP protein, contains the metabolite binding site to the particular carbon source, and that will interact with the GAL4 protein. And if there is no galactose present in the particular surrounding or environment of the yeast cell, that will suppress that particular process and does not initiate any condition to provide the yeast cell to grow. Whereas if the galactose is present in the environment, what happens is the yeast cell obtains it And the galactose metabolite, that is nothing but a galactose fat carbon source, and it will be obtained by the gal ATP protein that will attach to the gal ATP protein and initiate the reactions that will result in the galactose degradation enzymes like gal here, where the galactokinase and galactose epimerase and galactose transferases are the enzymes that will degrade the particular galactose enzyme. And the UASG is nothing but upstream activated sequences of the particular galactose gene that will initiate that particular sequence of expression. And RNA processing control, where after that RNA is synthesized, after the transcription process, what happens is like the RNA regulates the mRNA production from precursor RNAs. As we all know that there are two independent regulatory mechanisms occur, where the alternative polyadenylation, this is nothing but where the poly A tail is added to the particular mRNA transcript, and alternative splicing, where the exons are spliced and introns are attached to form an matured mRNA transcript. Later onward, the alternative polyadenylation and splicing can occur together. The examples are human calcitonin, calci gene in thyroid and the neuronal cells, and sex determination in Drosophila also happens in this manner only. And this is the RNA, this is the oral reaction that I was talking in the previous slides, where the non-template strand of DNA is processed on to provide the newly made mRNA. And the template strand of it acts as a template strand and provides the immature mRNA, and later it will be processed by splicing and polyadenylation factors and 5' capping, etc. And mRNA transport control, how the mRNA will be controlled by transportation. Sometimes some experiments shows that one or half of the primary transcripts never leave the nucleus and they are degraded inside the nucleus only. That might lead to the that will hinder the particular protein to express in all times. Where the mRNAs exit through the nuclear pores, as we all know that only the 5' capping will acts as a ticket to reach the cytoplasm. And the mRNA stability, as we all know that all RNAs, the particular mRNA transcript should be subjected to degradation, except those which undergoes post-transcriptional modifications can survive a little longer, but they are also eventually degraded, and in the cytoplasm of the particular cell. The tRNAs and RNAs are usually very stable than the mRNAs that will variably considered to minutes to months. That will determine whether the protein should be expressed for a particular time or particular environmental conditions. The stability may change in response to regulatory signals and is thought to be a major regulatory control point in the gene expression. And the protein synthesis, after the release from the nuclear pore of that particular mRNA transcript, they travels into the cytoplasm to reach the ribosome and start to synthesize the proteins, whereas here the mRNA are read in the 5' prime to the 3' prime direction, and this will also act as a major control point or checkpoint for the particular protein synthesis process. And polypeptide chains are synthesized from the amino to carboxy terminus. Each amino acid is specified by 3 bases, a codon. In general terms, it can be an UAG or UGG. It can be a terminator code or etc. And the mRNA, accordingly to it is based on the universal genetic code. And what are the significances of the particular gene regulation expression? Gene regulation is essential for viruses, prokaryotes, and eukaryotes, etc., as it increases the versatility and adaptability of the particular organism by allowing the cells to express protein when needed or not needed. And regulation of gene expression is to adapt to the changes in the environmentals, where it is considered as a remarkable property of the particular living cells. And the growth, development, and the differentiation of the particular organisms involves complex mechanisms which ultimately depend on gene regulation only. The housekeeping genes are constitutive genes which are expressed at almost a constant rate in the particular cells, and they are not subjected to any kind of gene regulations. For example, there is the enzymes of the particular Krebs cycle, And the capability of the body to produce 10 billions of antigen-specific immunoglobulins is due to the gene rearrangement process that is based on the significance of gene regulation expression. And the knowledge on gene regulation or gene expression process uh, allows and helps us to understand the pathways of several diseases, and that might also help to discover how the treatment should be placed, or how the treatment should be treated, etc. And that's it. Thank you all.